Years ago, I was enjoying my free time at home by playing some Siphon Filter on the PlayStation 1. Yeah, anybody else remember that? I was far too young to understand the storyline, but shooting all the enemies at the time was exciting enough for me to feel satisfied with it. Then one day, my dad came home with a copy of a game on Nintendo 64 dubbed Turok. What the fuck is Turok? Well, it's a first-person action shooter where the main goal is to complete the levels by fighting your way through a compendium of different enemies, such as soldiers or even fucking dinosaurs. It was a lot of fun, and I enjoyed the pixelated graphics amongst the other things that make Turok so great, including their large list of powerful weaponry that you can collect over the course of the game and then test out on any unlucky participants. Cultic is very reminiscent of the original Turok or even Doom games with its pixelated graphics, retro-style animations, and surprisingly effective arsenal. At first glance, I could tell there was more behind it than meets the eye, and after I completed the game, I was eager to talk to you guys all about it. So, what exactly is Cultic? Much like Doom and Signalis, Cultic offers a unique retro style of gameplay in the perspective of the player. A first-person shooter that promised an engaging story and disturbing imagery that matches a certain aesthetic that I'd like to think was inspired by the game Iron Lung, which is a massively successful indie game. I probably won't cover that one because it's been analyzed by every major YouTuber out there, and as far as I know, people wasted no time discovering the secrets and locations in it. However, this time around, I could experiment on my own with this new horror game and tread carefully into the darkness that remained unexplored. If you're a big fan of Doom, Brutal Doom, Duke Nukem, Blood 2, anything where the style is just guns blazing, guts flying, and pandemonium at every angle, you're gonna love Cultic. It's a fresh take on the retro FPS genre with vintage graphics, sound effects, animations, and level design. It feels straight out of the 90s, rightfully so. I have to admit, I never grew up with this type of game. It wasn't until I was a teen that I played the original Doom for the first time on PC. However, I'm not a fucking idiot either. I know what Doom is, and I always have. It's a classic badass shooter that was mindless violence, and it did a lot of good for the growth of video games as a whole, especially first-person shooters. Look, you probably know more about Doom than I do, and that's awesome. Needless to say, this game may feel like the classics, but does it play well? Hell yeah, it does. The story goes as follows. You play as an unnamed man who is investigating a strange location where a bunch of manic men in robes are aspiring to create the world's biggest cult. They hunt you down with guns and hatchets, and your only option is to fight through. Though this is seldomly a horror game, there are a lot of moments that involve massive firefights, which isn't a complaint coming from me. The entire time I was mowing down these cultists, I was laughing and enjoying my time. Die! 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 Die, heretic! Nah, you know what? Fuck. Oh, well, you're stuck. Yeah, cut off his fucking head. Die, you bastards! Okay, the pistol is not that good, apparently. This game is fucking fun. I can even, look, 10 out of 10 immersion. In what other game can you break a toilet and grab poop? Wait, was that what I was grabbing? No, I was grabbing the toilet seat. Okay. I threw it at his foot. Oh my god. A hatchet only speed run. Of course, your movement in these types of games is heavily encouraged considering how accurate your enemies are. As long as you're on the move though, they won't hit you. It's basically muscle memory for anyone associated with this genre. The enemies are vast and different too. At first, you'll obviously face the regular hatchet and pistol guys who swarm you like possessed villagers. Jesus Christ, look at how bloody this game is. It's kinda awesome. I soon encountered these weird dudes who jump at you and smack their fat fucking bellies against you when they lunge. They're kind of annoying, but they're easy to kill. Or how about the shotgun guys? They always wear red robes, and the sound of them chambering around when you see them is pretty intense. Then you have these assholes who are very much like the Marauders from Doom, wielding a shotgun and an assault rifle. They're about as annoying as the Doom ones, but a lot easier to take on here in my opinion. How about this fucking blue gargantuan behemoth? I have no idea what the hell it's supposed to be. Perhaps a giant pissed off blue gorilla, or maybe Ghost Rider after he drank Bang Energy? Who the fuck knows? Either way, he's a terrifying enemy and he relentlessly charges after you. Upon first discovering him, I can't lie, I was pretty scared. I don't trust this. Yep. Oh my god. What even is this? Jesus Christ. That thing was scary. Or this? What the hell am I actually looking at? It's as if Thanksgiving was ruined after a necromorph had hot sex with a turkey. This thing is huge and a grievance. You're better off keeping your distance when it comes to just about every enemy here. You'll get to take down such huge threats with a plethora of weapons to choose from. The dynamite in particular, I'm convinced, is OP as fuck because it can just clear a massive crowd in one good throw. Molotovs are also very useful for smaller enemies, and fire does damage over time. Just don't make the same mistake I did and throw one 2 inches away from your face like a moron. There's even an achievement for not throwing dynamite after you've lit it, as if the game was saying, duh, you fucking imbecile, dynamite explodes after it's lit. The dark areas of the game are pretty well designed, requiring your lighter to navigate further. I know it's probably a small thing to mention, but I'm not a game designer, so I have no clue how it works. The lighting is very impressive to me. Man, I didn't even notice this, but look at the lighting. When I walk away from the light, my hand kind of gets darker, and then when I approach it, that's really neat. Imagine the amount of time that must have taken just to program. It probably isn't as bad as I think. I've never designed a game before, so I have no clue how it works, but I can't imagine it's an easy task. Besides the lighting, there are other elements of Doom present here, like finding secret areas and extra slates of armor, ammunition. It's one of those games that you could literally play for hours and you wouldn't get bored. I know there's a lot of those, but this one feels like a breath of fresh air in today's modern age of gaming. And would you believe I'm having way more fun in this game than I did with any AAA title I've played this year? I know I'm going to become a super fanboy when I release my Resident Evil 4 remake review, but I was so impressed with this indie game that I couldn't help but talk about it. It goes without saying that this game is worth the $10 asking price. It fits a certain aesthetic that many players like me can appreciate. Even the story, as limited as it is, offers a cool idea behind modern cults and how easily some people fall for the most ridiculous things. You can find notes that explain more from an undercover detective's point of view, the initiation of being inscribed, and what horrendous things await further ahead. Exploring the environment for the hidden items is a huge plus, considering I always find myself running out of ammo. Not that that's the game's fault. I think I have permanent nerve damage in my right knuckles and I can't aim for shit, so I'll often spaz out when I'm under pressure in a gunfight. I'm a huge fan of the sound design in this one as well. Every time you pick up a new gun or ammunition, health, armor, really anything, the sound effects change in pitch and variation with a filter applied that gives it that 8-bit ambiance it needs. Not to mention it sounds good when you're shooting these powerful weapons, and it feels even better when you blow the fuck out of someone's face. This is one of those games you play late at night on an old CRT television, and while its nostalgic aspects do a lot of favors, it probably could have been designed like a modern shooter and still been cool. The premise is interesting, and fighting the cultists just comes so naturally, it would be unwise for me to consider this game not one of the greatest. I forgot to mention, this game even has 5 difficulties, much like the classics. They range from easier to harder, adding more replay value to the game overall. Hey, you never know, I might want to try again with a tougher challenge. This game reminds me of Nightmare of Decay, a game I have previously covered on the channel before. They both share some aspects from even Resident Evil, such as finding different key items to bring back to where they're needed, or discovering more lore through the scattered note pages that less fortunate visitors before you have left behind. It's interesting to discover more about this hideous cult and how accurate it almost is. I wouldn't deny that crazy fucked up guilds like this exist where people trick you into buying into whatever bullshit they're marketing and suddenly you're expelled of all problems in life. A delusion that many unfortunate souls have followed in reality. Aside from the main story, you also get a survival mode, during which you'll have to face your typical waves of difficult enemies, with each wave upping the ante a bit more. You can use the store that summons itself out of the ground and buy some new guns to try out, like the FG semi-auto sniper rifle. This thing's like a javelin gun, it doesn't fuck around. Or you could use the grenade launcher, which demolished anything it... Oh, wow, just look. There's no shortage of epic firefights, not in this wasteland of bones and blood. Later on, you'll be standing your ground inside the chapel, only to be bum-rushed from the main entrance by a goddamn tank. Might seem like a cheap boss fight, but I didn't mind it. It fits well with the retro aesthetic. If you were expecting me to find more things to complain about, Sorry, there's not much to say in terms of any bad aspects with this game. Are there some frustrating ones? Well, of course, but they're minor. The only realistic complaint I have is during the chapel defense. You're forced to fend off endless hordes of these cultists armed with guns and shields. Sounds easy, but guess what? They removed the quick save option during the entire encounter. I wasn't able to save after killing a tough enemy and running away to get some distance, so if I died in any way at this part, I had to restart from when I entered the fucking chapel. It's a bit tedious, but once you stop playing around like a chimp on a jungle gym, you eventually start thinking like an ape, which allows you to become full-blown monkey mode, destroying everyone and everything around me in a fit of rage. I guess in these types of games, those moments are pretty often. Even then, it doesn't diminish the quality of play. I'd be happy to launch Cultic up any day since it has proven to me that the vintage shooter classic genre is still very much alive and well, and continues to prosper ahead in the indie community. Jasozz Games outdid himself really well with this one. It's games like Cultic that prove to me there are good devs out there who genuinely want to make a fun game for your time and money, and boy, you're gonna have a lot of fun with Cultic. Believe it or not, it actually jump scared me a few times in between the action segments, and the puzzles weren't always on the nose. I liked exploring through each area, and taking a literal deep dive can prove to be beneficial for you. What else can I say, guys? Cultic isn't the game I was expecting it to be. It's way better. If you're up for a decent challenge and want to test your accuracy skills, see some blood and gore, or if you're just fucking bored and have nothing else in mind, I'd recommend this. For $10, I was beyond surprised that I could enjoy Cultic as much as I did. I can't wait to see if there will ever be a sequel or DLC or perhaps a spin-off. Really, anything made in this genre most of the time is fantastic. So, why the fuck are you still listening to my dumbass ramble about it? You should give it a chance. Go play Cultic and have the time of your life throwing dynamite at chainsaw dudes and hacking their heads off with a hatchet. However you choose to go into it. Thanks again for watching, ladies and gentlemen. Next up is a quick review of SCP Containment Breach and my thoughts on the universe and the lore behind it. Stay tuned, and thanks again for watching, guys. Thank you to everyone who has subscribed to our channel, and thanks for checking out this video. Leave a like, comment, and since we're on the subject, enjoy yourself. Thanks for watching the content, folks.